Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. All right, so we are going to start right away. We do have a full house. Um, so we want to make sure that we get through as much information as possible. My name is Eva Reyes, and I am the Director of Parent and Family Relations, and I want to formally welcome you to the Pioneer family. We are so excited and happy that your student has chosen William Paterson as their school of choice for the fall semester. And I can't wait to work with all of you so that we're able to ensure your student success. So you're going to get to know me a little bit more throughout the summer during orientation. I am the person that keeps sending you emails through the family portal. Um, so we're going to get really accustomed to each other. We wanted to have this pre-orientation info session because the orientation sessions that your student is going to choose throughout the summer, they may become a little bit too cumbersome as information overload. So I wanted to ensure that everything was segmented for you so that you're able to get the information, digest the information, talk about it with your student. And then once you come to the actual orientation program during the summer, then you could ask those one-on-one questions during the services fair and other mini sessions that we'll be hosting throughout. So with that said, if you could go to the next slide, Becky, I wanted to provide some ground rules for tonight. So please sign in using the QR code. I am also going to put in the sign in the chat, a link in the chat, so that you're able to sign in. Everyone is to remain on mute so that we're able to get through the conversation as quickly as possible. The recording is in progress. So I want to make sure that although we're going to go through the information tonight, I want you to be able to have the presentation so that you could like refer back to, share with your student, discuss anything that you need to do. Closed caption is available. You just have to select it on your own end. Please ask your questions in the QA box. That will be better for us to keep track of all the questions that are being asked. But we are, when you completed the registration, you submitted a question. We're going to try our best to answer those questions in general. And at the end, when you log off, you're going to get a survey. It's just for questions. If you could please provide your feedback, I would greatly appreciate it. That's going to help me enhance the program for you all to enjoy. So, with that said, please meet our session experts. Becky, if you want to start first.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Baird, but I go by Becky. I serve here at William Paterson as the Director of Residence Life. And my goal for tonight is to talk to you a little bit about what to expect as your student gets ready to transition to living on campus. So hopefully, as Eva said, I will work to answer most of your questions. I really appreciate the engagement ahead of the session so that we could try to make this as practical as possible. So what we wanted to start with talking tonight is to just introduce you to a little bit about who our team is. So we have this lovely little picture of our current team here on the screen, as well as our contact information. And don't forget, this presentation will be available to you, to access, so you don't have to jot everything down. But ultimately, it was important for me to help everyone understand who our team is and how we are here to help. So we have a small professional staff that is on campus, that works regular business hours to support all of your students throughout their residential experience. In addition, we have a number of student staff positions that live and work within the halls amongst your students when they're living here to support them day and night, weekends, whenever things come up as far as what they need. We have one graduate resident director who supervises each of the different residence halls on campus. They are responsible for supervising the resident assistants. There are 6 resident assistants assigned to each residence hall. And those are undergraduate students who are in leadership positions, who are given training and put in the role to help all of our students who live on campus with their various needs regarding anything that could come up in the day-to-day experience of, the course of living in the halls. We also have desk and office assistants who are there to provide security and help for our students in gaining the things that they need throughout their time on campus. What we highly recommend is that you encourage your students to connect with our team. We are their go-to people, certainly for anything related to housing, but our team is well-versed in all of the resources that William Paterson has to offer, whether it's academic, personal, social, financial. We want you to think of us as as the go-to people. A lot of times residence life can get a tough reputation. We do have a large breadth of work that we're looking to do with and for your students. We are there to help support them, help educate them, help keep them on track. We are also there to enforce policies and procedures, but of course we want to make sure that everyone is having a safe and a positive experience. So that's just a little bit about our team. What I wanted to make sure that everybody understood as you get ready to become part of the William Paterson community is who lives where on campus. So at William Paterson, we have a model for housing that we believe that we see more success with first-year students living with other first-year students. So these are the residence halls that are currently open on William Paterson's campus. We have 8 residence halls that will be open for the fall semester. High Mountain East, High Mountain West, and Hillside are the 3 residence halls in which our traditional first-year students are assigned to live. For many of you, hopefully you've been on a tour of our campus as you've worked to make your decision to attend the institution, and hopefully you took a residential tour. The building that you went to see is High Mountain East, and so that building and High Mountain West are what we would call sister buildings. They're exactly the same. Hillside is right across the street from High Mountain East and West, so they're all in close proximity, and these are the first year residence halls. All 3 buildings are what we call suite style, which in our definition at William Paterson is 2 bedrooms that house 2 people each for the majority, that is joined by an internal bathroom. So we don't have any sort of bathrooms down the hall, community bathrooms. All of our suites have the bathroom right within the assigned suite. Students live with a roommate. For majority of our students live with a roommate and then suite mates. And so that's their internal unit for their housing. Continuing and transfer students live in the other buildings that are listed, which is Century, Skyline, Whitehall, and then the Pioneer and Heritage Apartments. One little just piece of information, and we'll talk a little bit more about 9-month housing in just a little bit, is that if there are first-year students who are in need of 9-month housing, those students would be assigned to Whitehall because the 3 traditional freshman buildings are not 9-month housing areas. Another important piece of information that we want everybody to understand is what does housing cost? So currently up on your screen, you can see what the room rates were for this past academic year, 24-25. We'd like to make sure that students and their families can see academics costs per semester, as well as the academic year for the room rates. Please understand that the room rates for 25-26 academic year have not been published yet. They will be reviewed and approved by our Board of Trustees shortly, and they are typically posted in late June, early July. And so that information will be updated and will be available in the upcoming weeks. Please also note we will talk meal plans in just a little while, but meal plan, or what some call the board charges, they are an additional or separate charge from what you see here on the screen. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we call special interest housing. These are options available for all students as far as individual or specific needs, interests, or participation in particular cohorts. So the first community that we like to talk about is our honors housing for first-year students. The honors housing that we have on campus is featured in High Mountain East. This is only available, the honors community is only available for first year students. So as your student matriculates into their sophomore year and later, they have sort of oversight in wherever they choose to live on campus in the different residence halls. But we do work closely with the honors program to cohort first year honors students together in High Mountain East. Honor students can request to live somewhere else, or they can prioritize other housing needs and other housing special interests, and that would become their assignment. But please know that for the most part, we look to house our honor students in High Mountain East. Please also note that honor students can either request or be assigned with non-honors roommates or suite mates. It is just based upon availability, as well as the timing of assignments, which is based upon application date. So that is just an overview of honors housing. Another special interest area is elective singles. We do receive a lot of interest in elective singles, but it is important for me to help everyone understand that elective single housing is very limited on our campus as far as the availability. The significant majority of our students on campus do live in double occupancy assignment spaces. We do have a small cohort of rooms available that students can indicate preference for if they would like to live in elective single housing. For first year students, elective singles are available only in Hillside Hall. And for transfer students, they are only available in Century V Apartments and Whitehall. So students can indicate their interest under their housing portal preferences, but please note that preference does not guarantee assignment. Again, these are very limited. Majority of our elective singles are based upon seniority points and a lottery system. That's for continuing students. So the majority of our elective singles for upper class students have already been selected during the room selection process. For first year students, depending on what the interest is, there will be a lottery process associated with the elective single process for students, and students will be made elective single housing offers as we move forward with the assignments process in the next few weeks. Please note that the elective single housing room rate is at a higher rate than the double occupancy rate. So that is just something that's important that students will have to know and understand and agree to in accepting an elective single housing offer. We also like to talk about single accommodation housing. So single accommodations is a partnership process between the Accessibility Resource Center and Residence Life. Please know that all students who are seeking housing accommodations, such as a medical single, an emotional support animal, any other type of housing related accommodation, needs to go through the Accessibility Resource Center. You must apply for accommodations. The Accessibility Resource team will reach out to your student. They will discuss with them the documentation and the process needed in order for them to make a decision. Once a decision about an accommodation has been made by the Accessibility Resource Center staff, that accommodation is then communicated to Residence Life. Residence Life then works to make an assignment offer based upon availability. So timing is key in housing accommodations and availability. Not all accommodations can be met in the different housing options that we have on campus, but we do work to provide students the accommodations that they are approved for to the best of our ability based upon inventory. Please understand that when you're approved for housing accommodations, there may be other parts of the housing process that then don't become available to you, such as selecting suite mates or building preferences may become a little bit more limited because single housing accommodations are very specifically designed assignments within the residence halls, and they traditionally suite with either a Residence Life staff member or another student in an approved accommodation. So that's just something that's important to understand about accommodations. Gender inclusive housing is another option that is available for our students. This is available to students who are 18 years or above and allows for same gender or other gender identity students to live together regardless of their assigned gender at birth. This is meant to be a supportive housing option for students who have preference for living in a housing assignment that is not sort of based upon the traditional gender assignments. And our last special interest housing option that I wanted to review is 9-month housing. 9-month housing is available for students who are not able to leave campus during our break periods. So 9-month housing begins at the start of move-in in August for the fall semester and provides continued housing through the end of May when the residence halls close at the end of the spring semester. So the residence halls close for both Thanksgiving, winter, and spring break. Students who are in approved 9-month housing assignments are approved to remain on campus during those break periods in their assigned housing if they are in a 9-month contract. For this year, this upcoming fall, 9-month housing is available in Whitehall as well as the Pioneer Apartments. And so students can indicate their preference, and then we would have continued communication with students for them to better understand the 9-month housing options and costs available to them. So I'm hopeful that many of you have already done your application for living on campus for this fall, but I wanted to make sure that this information is available. There is a few steps within the process. The first step is just logging in and completing your housing application. The housing application is available through WP Connect. Students just need to log into WP Connect and click onto their Campus Life menu, and they will see the link for the housing application. After you complete the housing application through the housing portal, you are then directed to submit the $150 non-refundable housing deposit. That is all a seamless process through the housing portal. Once your application is considered complete by completing all of the steps of the application as well as your deposit, you are then eligible to submit your housing preferences, which we'll talk about in just a second. While I'm not going to show this video during this presentation, I do want to let everybody know that we do have, as you can see on the screen here, a housing application tutorial video. This video is available from the Residence Life website. So if you just went onto the William Paterson website and typed in Residence Life, or you go under Housing under the Campus Life menu, if you click on Apply for Housing in the menu and scroll to the bottom, this video is available to you. It walks everyone through step by step what the housing process is, every screen, and it fully explains all of the information that is part of the housing application process. So now I want to talk a little bit more about submitting housing preferences and the assignment process. So housing preferences are available for students to provide information to our team regarding maybe if they have a building that they would prefer to live in, if they have a roommate and or suite mates that they would like to live with, and or if they have interest in one of those special interest housing areas that I just discussed. Students would need to indicate this information within their housing application. And again, it doesn't necessarily guarantee assignment, but it is the first steps that are needed in order for us to start that process of providing students what they're looking for. Please understand that assignments are based upon first come, first serve in how we go and group through for students. So that's where building availability may change a little bit, but know that any confirmed roommate groups, we will always look to assign those students together. So please, as you're working with your students, please just make sure that they understand that all of their roommate groups need to be verified. So this is where they just need to confirm with each other that is how they would like to be assigned. The process and the timelines related to applications and assignments processing changes. As you can understand, we receive completed applications on an ongoing basis. So at this point of the summer, everyone that was completed should have already received an email about submitting their preferences and getting ready for assignment. As students complete the process, we will continue to send follow-up emails that communicate some timelines which we're looking for them to submit their preferences in order to be assigned as they're looking. Students are asked to complete what we call our preparing for assignment process after they submit all of their preferences. This is what tells us that they are ready to be assigned. So if a student does not have any additional preferences that they're looking to submit or have confirmed, we would encourage your student to indicate in their preparing for assignment in the portal that they are ready for assignment. And this will result in their assignment being processed in an efficient manner. Housing assignments are done on an ongoing basis. We will start doing housing assignments in about a week and a half. And that will be with the first group of students that indicate to us that they are ready for assignment, that they have fully submitted all of their preferences. Please understand that as you are assigned, your billing gets updated, and those billing changes can take an additional 3 to 5 business days after assignment and assignment changes are made to appear on your statement. We also understand that sometimes students maybe have change requests that they would like to meet. Maybe they will connect with somebody that they didn't ask to be their roommate. Please understand that we will always work to support the students in the changes that they submit, but it does get more and more difficult to make room change requests as we get closer to August and once all assignments are completed. So students may have to move into their original assignments and wait for room changes to become available later in the fall. All of this depends on how full the buildings are and availability at the time of the request. So now that you understand how to apply for housing and how to submit your preferences, it's important for me to sort of help you understand what to expect and what we're trying to provide to your students when they're living on campus. What you see in front of you is our residential community value statement. This was drafted in collaboration with our undergraduate students and various staff over the past several years. And it sort of serves as our anchor and our foundation for what we're hoping that every one of our students living on campus kind of embraces as far as the residential experience. Mindset, attitude, behaviors, choices, they all matter. And when students are living in community, it is really important to understand that the decisions of one person impact all of us. So what we're looking for students to demonstrate at all times is care and respect for each other. Safety is our highest priority, right? So we need to make sure that students know and understand what is expected of them, that they work to take responsibility for their actions, but that they're also engaging and looking to make the most out of their experience. All of these values and the work that we do within the halls is rooted in trying to make sure that students have a safe and positive and productive experience. We like to speak very quickly about academic support in the residence halls. It is important for me to speak to the fact that we need you to help your students remember that transitioning can be hard, but we are here to help them. They are here for their degree. That should be their number one priority. And our team is going to work to support their academic pursuits while they're here on campus. So some of the features that we offer within the residence halls on campus to support students academically are we feature study hall in all of the buildings Sunday through Wednesday each week. They can expect community check-ins by the RA staff at least 3 times a semester. We will check in to ask students how they're doing, how are classes going, how can we help, what is it that they need. It's important for students to be connected to our team so that we can understand their experience and work to support them. We also respond to what's called Navigate alerts. Navigate is the system that we use to communicate with students and provide them a lot of academic support. Our team is notified if there are concerns regarding attendance or performance in a class, and we will work to support the students and check in with them to try to understand what's going on and get them connected to the resources that they need to turn things around. In addition, we feature a lot of programs and campus collaborations throughout the residence halls that focus on not only sort of social and other aspects, but also academic support and advisement. And it is really important for me to mention that our policies and procedures are in place to support academic success. So it is important. We will go over all of these with students upon their arrival on campus, but know and understand that all of sort of all of the happenings that are within the halls are meant to be there to enforce the residence halls being a place for academic success. Here are some common questions and challenges related to living on campus. Some of these came from the questions that you submitted ahead of time, and some are just common questions that we receive on a regular basis from new incoming students. So the first question is there somewhere to meet a potential roommate? So we would like to direct students to the housing portal. We would recommend that you complete the roommate questionnaire and you opt into this information becoming available to other students so that you can try to link up with potential roommates. We also recommend that for students that are part of particular cohorts like honors, EOF, athletes, that you work with those cohort staff to see if they have any recommendations for helping you connect with another person within that cohort. It's important to understand that residence life doesn't have this information all of the time. We do not make assignments based upon athletic or other types of cohorts unless requested. So it is important for students to work with their cohorts if they're looking to live with someone within the cohort. The other thing that we do as far as if you don't have a roommate to request that you wind up meeting up with, we do prioritize things like major when we go to do assignments because that tends to be a high positive impact factor when we connect and assign roommates. So the big question of what should I do if I don't have a good relationship with my roommate? I think what we like to talk about here is that communication and compromise are key. The RA staff is your first go-to person to help discuss what your concerns are and how to address them. They can help mediate. We have roommate agreement tools that we work with students to try to reestablish balance and good communication so that everybody can have a positive living experience. In addition, if it's really not working out, students do have the abilities to submit a room change request. There is a process that is done via the housing portal where students can indicate that they would like to request a new location for them as a room. Please understand that students cannot request a room change to a single room. That is not possible. And while we always look to do our best to meet what students are looking for, availability sometimes does play a factor in the room change process. And so our team is here to help. We do see room changes as a last resort option. We do want students to work through things and we can help them do that, but it is up to them to change and compromise and communicate effectively. Next question is, can I have guests? Yes, residential students can have guests. They just need to complete a visitor registration process and to understand the policies. So students are permitted to have guests. We will go over who a guest is when the students arrive on campus, but you can see more information at this point if you're curious in the Residence Life Handbook, which I'll talk about in just a second. Sometimes there are things that happen within a student space that results in maybe a light going out or something not working in a room. So students often ask us what happens if something isn't working in our room. We strongly encourage students to submit work orders. There is a link that is available on the website. It's in the housing portal, as well as it will be posted on QR codes on flyers throughout the residence halls. It is very, very important that students submit work orders promptly. We want them living in safe and comfortable living environments, and Residence Life works very closely with our PPO staff to address any of the concerns that come up from students. Another question that was popular before the session was, when are the semester breaks and do I have to leave? All breaks are listed on the Residence Life website. The specific dates and times are indicated currently for the upcoming 25-26 academic year. And unless a student is in an approved 9-month housing contract, they are required to leave campus for the Thanksgiving, winter, and spring breaks. Students can keep their belongings in their room during break periods, especially Thanksgiving and spring. And winter break, they are permitted to leave their items in their spaces as long as they're returning for the spring semester. And the last question we get often is, how will I know what's going on campus? What is there to do? There are lots of sources of information. I've listed some of them here: Pioneer Life, social media, flyers in the building, campus announcements. Students need to get involved, but also look at what's posted throughout the buildings, not only the residence halls, but also maybe the student center and other areas to know and understand what's happening on campus. Students really do need to engage in the things that they're interested in to feel connected and understand what they may like to attend throughout each semester. So now let's talk very quickly about getting ready to move in. What you see here is a screenshot of our move-in guide. This is available to you on the Residence Life website. I have the address here for you. Please click it to download a copy. This specifically goes over what is provided to all students in every room, specific room dimensions, a lot of our move-in tips, how to get prepared for move-in, as well as a packing list of items of what to bring and what not to bring that sets students up for success. In addition, we highly recommend that students start to familiarize themselves with our Residence Life Handbook. Again, that link is on the moving guide, but it is also listed here. It is directly available from our website. Currently, right now, the 24-25 handbook is still currently posted. That will get updated in August for 25-26. We are in our policy review period. We do review those each summer. So whatever adjustments are made to policies will be published and available for students in early August before move-in. And lastly, to just understand the moving process. So the move-in dates for the upcoming fall semester are Sunday, August 24th and Monday, August 25th. The move-in process and how to get prepared is that students will need to sign up for a move-in date and time. This information will be sent to all students via their housing portal early in the August semester. We will start prompting them in early August as far as the things that they need to do to prepare to move in, as well as the directions to sign up and pick a date and time. This is based upon availability, first come, first serve. There are a limited number of spots for each time period per building. We're looking to provide a positive move-in experience for all students, so we do need students to stick to the date and time in which they sign up. We strongly encourage students to connect with their roommates before moving in, to just sort of introduce themselves, maybe negotiate any items within the space that you want to share, and to just kind of start off on the right foot as far as getting to know each other. Please know and understand that all students must be registered for full-time, which is at 12 credits or more, and must be immunization cleared before they're permitted to move in. All of this information will continue to be reiterated in the communications that we send to the students regarding moving in. But ultimately, students need to make sure that they're taking care of all of the things that they need to do to get ready for move in. If they show up on move-in day and unfortunately aren't registered or cleared by the health center for their immunizations, they will not be permitted to move in. So then just lastly, what to expect on move-in day. All students will check in via their housing portal before arriving on campus. This check-in process ahead of time is really important for students to do. It makes the check-in process once you arrive on campus a little bit more smooth, but also it allows for you to create and print the car passes, which will allow for you to bring your car up, your vehicle up to the closer to the building on move-in day. Campus police will be on site in the parking lots to direct traffic, and Residence Life staff will be in the building to verify students check-in and provide them their keys. All students need to bring their William Paterson ID card with them to move in, as it serves as part of their access, especially in High Mountain East, High Mountain West, and Skyline. In addition, we encourage families to bring a handcart with them to make the move-in process a little bit easier. Some of our buildings are a little bit more handcart friendly than others. Some have steps, but ultimately this is helpful for move-in day. So while we have some that we try to provide, they are limited. And so we do encourage as many families as possible to bring handcarts with them. So that is an overview of Residence Life and the move-in process. At this time, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague Clint to introduce himself and talk about hospitality.
Thank you, Becky. Good evening, everybody. My name is Clint Voltman. I'm the Associate Director of Hospitality Services. I've been with William Paterson University for just north of 11 years. Throughout that time, I have built, created, and enhanced many of our systems for our campus cards, for our meal plans, and for Pioneer Express, which is our campus currency. So I just provided a brief overview in my slides. Everything that I'm covering is available on our hospitality website, which that QR code underneath my handsome photo, if you were to visit, will bring you up to our navigation page for more in-depth explanations. So hospitality at a glance.
Oh,
So our
sorry.
office does WP campus cards. We manage our Get Mobile application, which is something we'll be talking about throughout the presentation. We also cover meal plans. So Becky mentioned things about campus cards and hall access. We'll get into that. Pioneer Express, our campus currency, and we also collaborate with our on-campus dining vendor, which is Aramark. So first off, for WP Campus cards, all of our students, regardless of their status, are provided with the opportunity to receive a campus card. This would include anybody who is considered exclusively a WP online student. Anybody that comes to our university is able to get a campus card. What these campus cards will do is it will provide students with access to their meal plans. For those who are living in our traditional residence halls, those are residence halls that do not have kitchen spaces within the rooms, must have a meal plan. And there's a slide that I'll go into later with more detail. It'll also provide them with door access. So we just learned a lot about housing. So there are front desks where students will have to use their campus cards to get access into the main halls. And some of our facilities will actually be utilized in the doors themselves. And then also Pioneer Express transactions. So much like how you would have a credit card or use tender like cash, you can also have money on your student ID card that could be used the very same way. So to get the party started, students can just simply start by downloading our Get Mobile application. In this slide, there are two QR codes, one for Apple users, one for Android users. And after scanning that, this is a free application. It'll give students direct access to our William Paterson single sign-on page. So as you download the application, you just look for William Paterson University. There you'll be prompted to put in your campus credentials, which for most of our students are their last name, first initial. Some may have a number designation after that. And then students' first password is typically their 855 banner ID number. I do recommend that that's a number that gets changed over time, but just to give you the idea of how to sign in, that's how students would do so. In there, it's very simple. And as Becky showed in her slides, on our website, we do have a direct video tutorial which takes students step by step on how they're able to submit their photos. It's a very simple practice. If your students use any form of social media that posts photos, this should be very simple to them. Some fun notables that we do with our ID cards is now students have the ability to have their preferred names provided on the card. So myself, I'm actually Clinton John Voltman Jr. Thanks, Dad. So I go by Clint. So what I can do is through WP Connect, and you'll be hearing that throughout many of your experiences on campus, you would look at your profile. You'll have a little drag and drop, which will tell you what your preferred name would be. And in that little field, you can put, like for me, I would put Clint. Usually it takes about 2 business days for that to take effect. So I would recommend that if you have a student that goes by a preferred name, they would change that in WP Connect first before submitting their online photo. Our staff moves pretty swiftly when we see new online photos to generate them into physical cards. So it's best to have that step performed first. Another great fact is for anybody that is able to submit their photos and receive approvals by August 1st, we will mail your ID cards home to the home address you have on file with the university. So as long as your student is able to submit their photos prior to then, they receive an automated message back from our team saying, your photo was approved. That then would let you know that it will be coming in the mail, which we would usually expect comes about a week or so after August 1st. If you missed that deadline for whatever reason, it's okay. If your students are going to be on campus, we collaborate with Residence Life and we'll take any resident students that we've printed since that point, provide them to their team so that at check-in, their cards will be available. Also, if anybody's planning on coming to a physical orientation, sometime between the start of the semester, we will have a table set outside, and any cards that have been printed to this point, a student can come up to us, and as long as their card has been generated, we can issue it to them right then and there as a thank you for coming aboard. Now, last point on this slide, we know nothing happens. Our students will never lose a card. These things are fictitious, never will happen. If it does, our office is open during traditional hours of operation, Monday through Friday. Our staff is trained in order to issue any type of reprint of a card. For any of our locks on campus that are tapping locks, all that access will automatically carry over. And for any of our older lock systems on campus, our staff will guide them to take the action so that they should not have any downtime. Next slide. So while we're on the subject of the Get Mobile application, Get Mobile also offers our university two additional items. So Get a Photo, we've already kind of learned about. That's where students are going to submit their photos. Another great service that we have is Get Foods. So much like Grubhub, we have a campus-based online ordering system where if a student would like to order their food from their cell phone at any of our participating campus-based locations, they can simply pull up that revenue center, can pick their substitutes. They basically have as many options that you can offer in person through the application, and then using their meal plans, their Pioneer Express, or it also takes credit card, students can process their transactions. They'll get an automated notification letting them know when their order will be performed and instructions on how to go to the desk of where they're ordering their food from to collect their item. So it's really been adopted by our students on campus. We're doing pretty well. I think our online sales are competing with in person now because there's no lines there. And it's really great. And we're always making enhancements and building new things into it. The last and almost most important thing that Get offers now is Get Funds. And some of the key features that Get Funds offers is this gives your student 24/7 access to their Pioneer Express account and their meal plans. So when we talk about meal plans, we'll talk about what a weekly meal plan is or a traditional meal plan. We'll talk about what a block plan is. But basically, this application will let them know how many meals they have left for that given period. So, if a student's worried, do I have enough meals to get through this week? Or how many meals do I have left in my balance? Or how much Pioneer Express dollars do I have left? They'll be able to see that. They'll also be able to pull up a transactional history, much like if anybody has an online banking account like Bank of America or TD Bank. It'll tell them exactly where they're spending their money, what their purchases were. It's great for reconciliation or for creating budgets. So if you're not going to be joining us physically on campus, or you live in a residence hall that doesn't require a meal plan, you can say, I want to have $20 a week on my card, or maybe make a one-time deposit. This will be really great for you for there. Students also have the ability to set low balance notifications. So if they would like to be alerted by a text or an email or a combination of the both, they can simply put in whatever number they would like to be notified with, and the application will automatically send them a little alert to say, you're down to your last few dollars. Would you like to add? And this next one is a family favorite. It is the ability for them to request funds from friends and family. So with a click of a button, your student will be able to send a link via text or email to a loved one to say, hey, click on this QR code in order to put more Pioneer Express funds on your student's account. And one thing on that is we do not charge any fees. So if you put $50, $100 on your student's Pioneer Express card, it'll all go to your student. For our online transactions, there's a $1 fee, and that's because our university pays for PCI compliance, which is basically we take your information, scramble it into cookies, bagels, anything and everything that will make it impenetrable for hacking and cybersecurity. So we pay top dollar for that service. So you could trust Get Mobile for putting credit card purchases through. Lastly, as I was kind of joking about before, if your student does also misplace their card on campus and they're worried about somebody running to a vending machine and swiping all the Twinkies and using all their Pioneer Express dollars, students will, through Get Mobile, have the ability to deactivate their card in real time. So that will turn it into just a useless piece of plastic. It won't work with their access. It won't work with their meal plans or their Pioneer Express. And if later they turn out that they found their campus card, maybe it was left in their room or left in a classroom, they could just take the little slider and report it as found, and the card will work again seamlessly. Great. So now we're going to segue into meal plans. So William Paterson offers two main plans. We have our weekly plans and we have our block plans. So basically the difference between the two of them are our weekly plans provide your student with a prefixed number of meals each week. So a very common meal plan for new students. For those that are guaranteed to be on campus Monday through Friday, but may go home on the weekends, we offer a 15 meal plan. This will give your students access to 15 meals per week, which a campus week is Sunday through Saturday. We have meal periods. So if a student goes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night, if we're going to our all you care to eat cafeteria Wayne Dining Hall, one swipe will get them that experience where they can, eat, it's all they can care to eat, or they can also turn those swipes into a meal equivalency, which will be used as 525 currency at any of our participating on-campus locations. So if your student's been with us for a while and maybe they don't want to go to Wayne Dining Hall for breakfast, they could just simply go up to one of our Paterson food court clerks and say, I'd like to use my breakfast swipe, please. And that can be used as a deductive balance. That will then go over the course of the week on a weekly plan. So students, as they use them, it'll go to 14 meals, 13 meals, etc. And then just like magic, on Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning, your student's balance will refresh to that starting number of meals each week. So one common question we may receive is, if my student doesn't use all of their meals, do they roll over from week to week? Unfortunately, they do not. So we encourage students to, if they do sign up for a 15 meal plan, to make sure that they're going to Wayne Dining Hall, make sure they use their equivalencies. So make sure that they get on the other side is where a student will get access to all of their meals all up front, and it's then they can choose on how they'd like to spend them over the course of the semester. Now, one thing I always consult families on is if your student is new to living on campus and they're new to meal plans, I would more encourage them in the direction of a weekly plan. It is possible for a student to invite a friend to a meal, and then by the time they get to the end for that week, they've run out. Now, they do have a Pioneer Express balance on their plans, so that is completely fine to get them through that week. But once Sunday comes, they're back to normal. With a block plan, if they spend all of their meals up front, and they run out by middle of the semester, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for them because now they're exclusively using their Pioneer Express dollars in order to get them through. So that's something that I would recommend more for our advanced students on campus, or those that have been on campus for a while or have access to a kitchen space within their rooms. Now, in addition to the meal swipes, our students also will get on pretty much all of our meal plans at this point, a one-time deposit of Pioneer Express. So depending on the plan that you choose, some will have more meals, less Pioneer Express dollars. Some will have less meals, more Pioneer Express dollars. And usually what I tell families, if you make a grid of Sunday through Saturday and then put breakfast, lunch, and dinner and kind of make a calendar-like grid, put a box next to the meals your student will eat, and chances are you'll see that they'll come up to a number of about 15 or 19. And we do have a meal plan that would accommodate those diets. So next, we're going to talk a little bit more about Pioneer Express. So Pioneer Express, as I've shared, is our campus currency on campus. If you've toured other institutions, some of our sister institutions may use Red Hawk dollars like at Montclair State or Owl Bucks at other campuses. We call ours Pioneer Express. We accept all forms of tender, but we recommend that students use Pioneer Express because it gives our campus and officials like myself the ability to, in real time, investigate if a student had the wrong charge or if they're entitled to a refund for something on campus. It provides us with that speed to do it fast. For those that use credit cards, you'd have to most likely go through an 800 number. That could take you a little bit more time, and cash is always green. But typically, our staff has become very equipped at Pioneer Express. Now, sometimes people will get the conception or hear the terminology, my Pioneer Express card. I always put this bullet point that your William Paterson ID is your Pioneer Express card. Everything is on one card. You're not going to have a secondary card. For anybody that's not required to have a meal plan at the start of the semester, there's no application process you need to fill out in order to have Pioneer Express. All students will come with a $0 balance Pioneer Express, and then at that point, it's up to them to either go through our different channels to add those money. I mentioned this already, but it is mostly the most convenient, quick, cashless way for students to make purchases on campus. And I included some of our notable locations. So all of our dining locations, which include Patterson Food Court, we have an Einstein's located in University Hall, Wayne Dining Hall. It can also be used in the university bookstore. So usually in the very beginning, students might go to the bookstore with their families and pick up a few odds and ends to get started. Most of our vending machines on campus do accept Pioneer Express. Some of our old ones are coins and dollars, but most of them are taking Pioneer Express. And then we also have a handful of local off-campus vendors. Some of our more popular ones, we have Wendy's, we have CVS, we have Quick Check, and a handful of other local places that students have really grown fondly of. And they're all within a few minutes of the university. So students are not going to have to drive to Timbuktu to use them. They're all within driving distance of a couple of minutes of the university. Also worth noting, we have a lot of campus resources that also take Pioneer Express. So one that comes to mind is campus activities. They might have trips to Broadway for students to see different shows, and there may be some fees associated with those trips. Students can purchase those tickets with Pioneer Express or take advantage of other campus department programs where Pioneer Express is accepted. So some of the methods that you can use in order to add Pioneer Express. Now, if you have a meal plan, I wouldn't recommend adding additional Pioneer Express because you will have that one-time deposit at the start of each semester. For anybody that is, some say ran out of Pioneer Express or not required, through the Get mobile app, through Get Funds, that's the easiest way. The funds will go on your account in real time. So as soon as you hit send, your student is able to start spending those funds immediately. We also have 4 campus VTMs, which are sort of like reverse ATMs. A student would go up to these machines, swipe their campus card, and then they can then put in how much they would like to add to their campus card. And then the other method is they can either call or visit us in our Robbinger Hall office, and you can add it over the phone. Every so often, sometimes we'll have family that will want to mail us a check. I just say, if you would like to mail a check, you make sure you address it to Hospitality Services. Make sure you include your student's banner number. Otherwise, it goes to the Clint Voltman Foundation. Just a little joke. But we would prefer that students would all go through the Get Mobile application as it does yield that immediate turnaround. And with that, I think our last slide is just on where you can find us. So Hospitality Services is broken into 2 offices. We have our main office, which is in Robbinger Hall, which is right next to University Hall and Morrison Hall. We're kind of right in between. Our ID center is located in the Student Center. You may also hear it referred to as University Commons. It's kind of the same complex. It's just a few separate buildings adjoined by breezeways, but it's right there in the Student Center on the 2nd floor. I put our fall and spring hours, and then we also have some special hours Monday through Thursday over the summer. And if you didn't get it before and you want to get the QR code to our website, which will go into more depth on how meal plans work, what is included in each of those packages, you just click on that QR code, and then just using the navigational tabs we have under our dining service program, all of our meal plans laid out, and their breakdowns, and the pricing will be updated by for the 2025-2026 pricing. It should be by Monday of next week. Our up-to-date pricing is, but current pricing should give you a basic snapshot of what those are going for. And with that, I would just like to say thank you for your time, and I'm going to now turn it over to Joanna.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for hanging in there. I know that we're coming close to our hour, so I will try to move along as fast as I could. So you will be hearing a lot more from us, and we're getting to know each other a little bit further as we kind of like move along. Bills are going to be coming out shortly in the middle of July. So at that point, you guys will be communicating with our offices quite often. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. Our office is the Office of Student Enrollment Services, and we are kind of a one-stop on campus, and we service three areas, which is financial aid, billing and payment, and academic records. Becky, can we move the slide? Thank you. So many of the questions that I saw coming in were, where can I pay my bill? Where can I view the bills? And so one of the things that's important to know is when you receive your first financial aid award letter, that is not your bill. That is just an estimated statement so that you can kind of get an idea of what the costs are going to look like. But your actual bills, students are able to view them on WP Connect, and it's called the Billing and Payment Portal. And I will talk about a little bit more about that, about what you can view there. You can view your charges. Oop, it's okay. You can move back really quickly. Thank you. With that, so just remember the charges are kind of like your itemized, the direct cost, which is something that you will see related, that's relative to your award letter. So you'll see tuition and fees, and if the student is planning on dorming, then the room and meal plan charges will also be on that billing and payment portal. You will also be able to see your federal aid payments, any state aid payments, any scholarship, any third-party or company scholarships or even third-party scholarships like from churches or other outside organizations will be listed there. And as part of your e-statement, you'll also see the amount that is due and the payment due date. I emphasize that you look at the actual e-statements and review the details, because students are getting an email letting them know that the e-statement is ready, but it will provide them with a summary balance. The actual details are in this portal. Next. Thank you. When are the bills due? So for the fall 25 semester, continuing students are registering as of March. Your new students are being registered right now through the registrar's office, and they will be receiving billing statements mid-July. The payment due date is going to be early August. So around the middle of July, if you haven't yet heard of or you haven't received a bill, or your student has not indicated, I have a bill out there, you should prompt them to log into WP Connect and review the bill that's out there. Please take note. Make sure that if you do not see your housing charges, but you do have an assignment, that you contact us so that we can review the bill and kind of like let you know if where we are at in the stages. As Becky has indicated, it does take about 3 to 5 days for that billing information to move over onto this billing and payment portal. So you may not see the changes right away, but it's important to alert us just in case there's anything that we need to fix on our end. For the spring semester, similarly, your student will be then registering in mid-October. The bills will go out in November, and the payment is going to be due early January. Next screen. Who can view my bills? Well, students can view their bills on their billing and payment portal, but also on that same portal, they can authorize you as a parent to view their bills if you're going to be in charge of making the payments, or making sure that you want to make sure that your student stays on top of these these billing statements, or just to verify the accuracy to make sure that all the financial aid is posted, or if you have an outside scholarship that you know that's going to be coming in, or company sponsorship, you want to know if that payment has been received or not. So under that billing and payment portal, students can authorize you, and what they will do is they would include your email, and then they will indicate what they provide access to. 1098T tax statement is important because you would want to use that for next year's tax statements to see if you're eligible for any tax credits. You would also want them to be able to say yes to viewing your e-statements and making payments on their behalf. And also if they want you to allow you to enroll in a tuition installment plan, which I'm going to get into installment plans in a little bit. It does not provide access to grades or other confidential information. You will only have access to their billing and payment suite. If an authorized user calls into our office, it's important to note that due to FERPA, which is a Federal Privacy Act requirement, similar to HIPAA at the doctor's office, it is important that we have the release of information from a student. So there is a FERPA authorization form that the students will be filling out, and you're going to get more information on this during orientation, where they will be able to provide information on who we have the ability to discuss bills and financial aid with. Next slide. Okay, so this is where I was talking about financial aid offers, and they are not billing statements, but it's important that you pay attention to your financial aid award offer. So financial aid award offers, as you know, we have to provide a cost of attendance budget to students. So if the student is being packaged as a commuter student, because some students make their decisions to move into the dorm or apply for the dorms after they have done their FAFSA, if a student has been packaged as a commuter student, then you will only see a tuition and fees under the direct costs in the financial aid award letter. If your student has been packaged as a resident student, or what it's a non-campus student, then that direct cost will reflect tuition, fees, dorm room, and a meal plan estimated costs. So that's how you'll know if your financial aid budget, if your financial aid award package is provided to you as either a commuter student or a resident student. If you do have a financial aid award package at the moment and you see only tuition and fees on there and you are interested in dorming, I will please contact us. That information will be at the end, but Eva will also place it in the chat so that you can contact us so that we can review that information with you. As a commuter, indirect costs will still include a housing and a meal. Only because part of the budget, as the government describes it, is we have to provide a realistic cost or an expected cost to parents. Just because they are not dorming on campus, you still have to provide a room, like a shelter and meals for them. So that is still an expected cost for families. So that's why that's included in there. Indirect costs that others may see on there are books and supplies, transportation, and miscellaneous. These are indirect costs, which means that these are not costs that the university will charge you, but these are things that you still have to be cognizant for in order to be able to make sure that you are meeting the students' educational expenses. Next slide. Thank you. So one of the questions are, can my financial aid pay for room and board? Well, financial aid, if you have any excess of scholarships that would allow for a housing and a meal plan, sure. Those scholarships can certainly roll from after they pay the tuition and fees first, because that's typically how scholarships work, tuition and fees first. And then any excess could then move over and roll over towards your housing and then a meal plan. The key word here is allows for housing and meals. So some scholarships, like if your student has a pledge for success, that is a direct cost only for tuition and fees. A pledge for success cannot roll over to housing and meals. So if you want to explore your award letter and understand which of those excess scholarship funds can roll over to housing and meal plans, certainly give us a call and we will review that with you. Students have the options of also gathering their federal loans. So they've been offered a subsidized and or an unsubsidized loan for most students who have completed a FAFSA or are FAFSA eligible. If you are FAFSA eligible, Parents also have the ability to apply for a Parent Plus loan. You are not automatically awarded this on your award package. I know some schools sometimes will put that offer on an award package. Parent Plus parents have to physically log into the studentaid.gov site and apply for a Parent Plus loan if this is something that they would like to do for their student. If this is not something that a parent can do for their student, students also have the ability to apply for a private or an alternative student loan. Students can apply, but most of them have not an established credit history, so they will more likely need a co-signer. And there are private parent loans available out there as well. One of them that I can think of right now is with the state of New Jersey. They do offer some loans for parents. Third parties, some company or agency scholarships or sponsorships or outside scholarships. 9 times out of 10, they do allow for the housing and a meal plan component for it to be applied to that. It needs to be if that is something that that agency will or will not do, that is something that you will have to work out with that other company, as that would be something that you would probably be applying for through them directly. For students who then they've exhausted a lot of their aid and they still have a balance of their housing and or meal plan or a portion of it, you can pay in cash in person at Morrison Hall. They can pay via check. You could either do that at Morrison Hall in our office, or you could do an e-check online through WP Connect, which is free. If you get your routing number and checking account number, it is free. If you pay by credit card or debit card, you can. However, via WP Connect, there's going to be a 3% convenience fee. I would recommend that if you're using a debit card, just look for the routing number and checking account number and use the e-check method instead, so that it could be free and you will not be assessed the convenience fee. Payment plans. As I mentioned before, you will be receiving your billing statements in July. So if you want to participate in the 5 months installments, which will stretch out your payment plan and it will lessen the amounts per month, you should start that payment plan in July. And if are interested in the 5 month installment plan for the spring, then you would need to start that by December. We also offer a 4 month installment plan if you want to, the due date is in August, so we can also enroll you into a payment plan in August. But we could then only offer the 4 month installment plan at that point. And for the spring semester, we will be able to enroll you into the 4 month in January. There are other plans available through our Office of Student Enrollment Services. So if you want to find out what other different types of plans we have, you could certainly email us and we will certainly provide you with that information. And this is our contact information. We also have a chat on our website. So if you contact us during office hours, especially during lunch, I know sometimes you don't have the opportunity to call, but you have an opportunity for a quick chat. You could ask for a live representative and we will be available to assist you. Our call center, while our office hours are 8:30 to 4:30, and our summer hours right now are 8 a.m. to 5:15 Monday through Thursday, we have our call center open that is available from 8:30 to 6. So if you are working later than 4:30 and still have an inquiry, you could always reach us until 6 p.m. And our website also, we do have how-to videos. So the how-to video that Becky had indicated before on how to apply for housing is also included in our site. And we have about 20 other videos on how to do so many other things on campus available on our site as well. And this is our email is studentservices@wpunj.edu if you have any more questions. And at this moment, I'm going to turn it back to Eva because I do know that we have some questions in our chat.
Yes. So I think that for the most part, we were able to answer all the questions that were submitted ahead of time. But there are some questions in the chat. If you have any other questions, please make sure that you put them in the chat. We're going to take this opportunity to do that now. So Becky, is there a way to confirm the school is in receipt of my housing application?
Sure, the easiest process to confirm if we have received, students should have received a confirmation email when their application and deposit was completed. So that should have been sent to them and available to them in their student email. But if you would like to confirm anything from the receipt of your completed application and deposit to your building preferences, easiest thing would be to contact our office. You can send an email to @home, ATHOME, at wpunj.edu, or you can call our number at 973-720-2714. Just have your student ID number available, and we will be able to look you up right away and give you an update on your status.
All right, so the next question, preparing for assignment phase, where do we determine when it's that stage?
So we are in that stage right now as far as preparing to assignment. So any student that had completed their housing assignment and their housing application and deposit should have received an email this week regarding submitting their housing preferences. Once a student submits their housing preferences, they then can indicate if they feel as though they're ready for assignment or if they would like some more time to be able to maybe match up and confirm with other roommates and suite mates or make some decisions about any of the special interest areas. We will start assignments in the last week of June for anyone who has indicated to us that they are prepared and ready to be assigned. Students that do not indicate that yet, they will be assigned later in July, and we will continue to send follow-up emails to students who are part of those different cohorts to let them know what we need for them to do in order to be assigned. We do look to assign all students as to the extent possible in July as much as possible. And so we do look for students to try to complete all of those stages of the process in July so that they can be in assignment and build appropriately for August and getting prepared to move in.
All right, next question. Do students need to look for a roommate from the list and then text each other to determine if they're a match? And how it is not clear how to get assistance on finding a roommate who is in honors or in a particular college.
So as far as honors, the honors college would be your best resource to understand and connect with other honors students. That is not information that Residence Life has access to at this time or could provide. The same goes with athletes, right? So if there is a student athlete who is going to be, say, a member of the volleyball team that wants to live with either another athlete or another volleyball player, they would have to interact with the coach of that team or the athletic staff in order to try to pair up and match up with a roommate. Within the housing portal, there is opportunity to present roommate information and to opt in to be part of the roommate matching. Students can then connect with other students and communicate with them in the method of their choice to further discuss if they think that they would be a good roommate match. And then if they do feel as though that is what they would like to move forward with, then they can then submit that through their preferences. There is not necessarily a direct path regarding particular majors and connecting with majors. But I did mention that to let you know that that is one of the ways that we do assign students who don't come and present confirmed roommate preferences. We do prioritize that information to the best of our ability to try to make good matches for students.
Thank you. Clint, can you talk a little bit how international students are going to get their ID?
Certainly. Well, the question I saw in the chat was if we mail out the ID cards to international students. So typically we don't, just because there's a significant slowdown and also a lot of additional cost. So most of our international students that submit are going to be living on campus. So what we would do in those cases is we would hold on to those cards until your student were to come onto campus. And if it wasn't until the physical day of move-in, they would most likely be in the hands of the personnel that are going to be working outside of the building your student will be coming into. So that's the one we would do it. If you have a unique circumstance to the person who asked that question, I would just say don't hesitate to email us at Hospitality Services and tell us a little bit of the story. And if we're able to make any other accommodations, we could look into it.
Thank you. Clint, this one's for you also. How much money is automatically put in Pioneer Express each semester?
Okay, so that's a good question. So for a student that doesn't require a meal plan, all balances are going to start at zero, and then whatever denomination you would like to put on your student's card would be there. For anybody that's getting a meal plan, depending on the meal plan you choose, they come with different prefixed amounts of Pioneer Express. So rather than tell you a more specific number, if you go on our hospitality website and you look under our dining tab, you'll see a page that says meal plans. There, it will tell you, for example, you might see a plan that says 15 meals, 300 Pioneer Express. So that meal will indicate that for if you sign up for the 15 meal plan, you'll get a one-time deposit at the start of the semester for that $300 or whatever plan you choose. It will indicate in the notes of like how much that specific plan will come with.
Thank you. And I'll take the last few. Where is the best place for students to meet a potential suite mate, or where can other first year students find or meet other students? So orientation, like the physical orientation, it's a great way to meet other students. Admissions also has, I forget what it's called, but they do have a group chat where all the students are in and they could like meet each other that way. There are some Instagram accounts that get started the class off 2029, right? Is that the new class, right? Like 2029. And students can exchange information that way.
Eva, can I just point out really quickly too that orientation is a really good way to meet other students, but please understand that if you are participating in orientation in July, then it is possible to meet other people and make roommate or suite mate preferences. But if you are participating in an August orientation, assignments will likely be processed by that point. And so that is not necessarily changes that we would be able to make after you've already been assigned, because all students will be assigned by early August.
Thank you, Becky. And the admissions chat is in Zeme. And then we're gonna take one last one, and we are going to end it when the orientation dates are going to be. So how many dining halls at William Paterson that you can use the block or weekly meals at?
So our main campus dining hall is Wayne Dining Hall. That's our all-you-care-to-eat facility. And then in addition to that, students can use their meal plan in the Patterson Food Court. There we have roughly 3 or 4 different franchises. Some are sort of grab and go grill, so that serves burgers, chicken fingers, fries, those types of things. We also have a Asian fusion, which has fresh sushi and sashimi available, and we also have a Latin fusion where students can go. We also have a Einstein's, which I mentioned in my part of the presentation, over in the University Hall. Now, their location is a third party, so they don't take the meal equivalencies, but they do take Pioneer Express. And with that, I think I pretty much covered all of them. Oh, except for if any of your students are going to be in Valley 1600, we also have like a little convenience store there as well for students. Oh, and the most important one, we have the W store, which is located within Century Residence Hall. So it's basically a convenience store that's open late nights where students can get kind of comfort foods and basic toiletries. There's like a frozen food section. It kind of looks like a mini 7-Eleven on the inside with some specials along the way.
And then, so we have 5 orientations coming up. The first one is on July 17th. That's for first year students, anyone that's part of the EOF program and honors. July 31st is also a first year orientation. August 12th, a first year orientation. August 14th is a transfer student orientation. And August 25th, it's labeled international student, but it's also a late orientation. So anyone that was not able to attend any of the other orientations, anyone from out of state, can definitely join us for that. Students have been receiving emails regarding RSVPing for their orientation of choice. So make sure that you check in with your student to make sure that they have already registered. The way that they get invited to orientation is if they have been deposited and they have also tested for their first year foundations. And I'm going to take one last question, and then we are really going to stop at that because I know that we went over a little bit. But once I upload the video, I'm going to break it up into segments just in case you need to refer back back to the presentation. So you know exactly at what point like the actual timestamp is if you need to go to a specific section. So Becky, one last question. Student athletes move in early. How do they register for their move-in date since it's not the original date?
Sure, great question. So student athletes who are fall only have early move-in dates. All of the move-in information is sent directly to those student athletes from their coaching staff. So the coaching staff will communicate the move-in date and the move-in time to those individuals, as well as the move-in process. Overall, what students will do on their move-in date as an athlete, they have to be on the approved list that is provided to Residence Life in August. They do still have to meet all of the move-in criteria. So they do have to make sure that they are registered. They do have to make sure that they are meningitis compliant and all of their immunizations are compliant. So please make sure that you're on top of that if you are working and to support a student athlete. Student athletes will then report, the process is very, very similar, right? They will report directly to the building that they are assigned, and the Residence Life staff team will meet them there and go through the check-in process with them. We will send separate communications to those student athletes ahead of time regarding them completing their digital check-in online ahead of their move-in time. Understand that you'll still probably get all of the general information for all students because we don't pull the athletic cohort out of those general communications. But if you are a student athlete, you will get your move-in date and time from your coaching staff. And that process will look very similar to how we described previously.
Great. Thank you. So I just wanted to thank Becky, Joanna, and Clint for their time this evening and for sharing all this great information. I want to thank you for joining us. This is a testament of your commitment to your student success. And I hope that all the information that was shared with you tonight is useful. We have more sessions coming out throughout the summer, and then we have the orientations, which we hope that I get to meet all of you personally during the orientation. So with that said, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a good night.